So test your applications in many different environments that are going to work on desktop, on different mobiles, on Android. You need to test all of these environments to make sure your app works properly. And of course, fix the issues. You very likely may find out that maybe on some browsers, because PWAs, people like to make them very powerful and installable applications, right? Progressive web apps, Safari has problem with them, and people know this in iOS. So make sure you know this, there is a better way to circumvent this on Safari. Or maybe tell user to use Chrome or Firefox. Don't let user just not understand that your application does not work in some context and you did not explain to them to go somewhere else. Even Instagram, when you're trying to use it too much on desktop, tells you to go to download a mobile app for a reason. So let's talk a bit about, this is the mitigation strategy, so implement testing and regular maintenance. So QA is something that any modern development team should have, at least one manual QA tester, or you can be the first one, or your users can be the first testers. The one that you conducted the interview, hopefully, can be the first ones to get a feedback about your app. Maybe they encounter the bug immediately. Many times when developers make their app, it's just like when you read a book that you read so many times, you don't actually see the mistakes. You don't see anything. You need to be fresh eyes. So it's very nice, very good to prepare QA session. It's very popular if you have a group of people to organize gathering like this, where you can give them the app and then make them put either on your phone or on paper some feedback for you. User adoption, it's a middle priority. This is a difficulty in attracting and retaining users. If you were here on my first talk, on the first day, I was talking a lot about indicators for adoption and how you actually can track this. This is mitigating the marketing strategies. How do people know about you? You might have probably like the best app in the world, and if you don't have a marketing strategy, nobody will know about it. You need to engage users, again, connected to the target audience and your go-to-market, where they are. You need to know already the way how to drive them inside your app. And regulatory compliance. This is a high priority, especially if you're building a DeFi project. You need to think of this in advance. Regulatory practices can shape your applications, literally can affect your code, because depending how you are going to implement something in a custodial or non-custodial way, you will have to pick one library or the other. So sometimes, it's not sometimes, always think about regulatory compliance ahead of time. This is now optional next steps. I was talking with some teams about this yesterday. They were asking about, should we put on the presentation the whole roadmap for the next maybe year or 5 years, because some teams have some long-term pictures. This is fine, it's optional, you can do this, but make sure you're not putting just wishes, make sure you're going to stick to it. If you put something on paper, don't just put it there, because we might think you actually need it and hold you for your word. What are next steps and feature you implement first, which ones later? This is good to have, not a must. So this is just a short, we will now discuss something together with Emil. He will come also on stage, we will take questions. Jason will give you the microphone. We will talk about the criteria for winning, but before that, I will use some time actually to talk about pitch deck and presentation, this template, or any kind of question you have about these topics that you hear, either from me or from you. Does anybody have any question about pitching, targeted competitors, or maybe any kind of this?
Okay, I think there's a taker in the first row.
Just like to ask about comparison matrix data. So is it issue to have like two competitors?
No. Depending on which market you can maybe have no competitors or only one big competitor, two competitors is fine. Ideal is three. This is just our suggestion.
Because we could have had, but if we had one more competitor, so.
Don't
actually just because of the slide.
No, that's okay. Don't put competitor. If you don't exaggerate and don't put fake data, especially if the judge or somebody who later on look at this and he's in the market, he'll know that this is not a competitor, right? Yeah, good question.
Any other questions about this part? Okay.
No, everybody clear. That's actually great. Well, This is very important because I don't think this slide was up here for any of these days. You just probably saw this, but these are the criteria that your app will be judged by us, and this is something that maybe we can talk about, give you some feedback on these details. What does this mean? And this is something we'll put points to. You can ask me a little about that. We can go and tell you what everything means. I can start with the first three, then we can explain maybe business model, team, and pitch. So your Telegram mini app, it will be judged by the state of UI and UX, so user experience. If it's already clunky, if it's really bad, we will probably give it a bit lower one. So we need to see that you are building towards something that's going to be user friendly. And of course, availability of Tom Connect, meaning integration of Tom wallet or wallets, whichever you choose, and some on-chain mechanics. So some means of transacting either with a smart contract or with another user on the wallet. Unique value proposition. This is your core proposition. Your why is your app so different than everybody else, especially from competition? This thing you need to know to talk in like 2 sentences or 1 sentence. You need to know why are you different. And of course, the biggest thing I think a lot of people don't have time because it's a very short hackathon. We will probably have more longer ones, but you people focus on coding, but you actually have time to code until the big hackathon ends. Please focus your attention on go-to-market and your marketing channels, your users. I heard a lot of things yesterday and the day before. I have not heard a lot of things even thinking about this, which is normal, but don't focus on technicalities now. You have time. Focus on actually bulletproofing and bullet testing your idea, which is all of this. Who you're gonna advertise to, what is your proposition, and then we can talk about UI and UX. And yeah, can maybe now talk about these three also.
Yes, I also want to add in terms of the whole presentation itself. So be short, precise. Don't try to put the whole screen in text. Just read, understand things quickly. So if we have any questions, we'll ask additionally, and we'll explain. We'll have time for this. But don't try to tell us about your unique feature the whole 4 minutes. So it will help you. And this is actually for the future presentation skills and effectiveness as well. So coming above, team relevant experience, you will see that your whole team is like 4 marketing people. Doesn't really make any sense, and we won't believe that you will deliver it in the future. And it's also, you have to understand how to size your team in general. Regarding the business model, yesterday I was discussing with one of the team about their business model, the tokenomics and so on. So you have to understand how you're gonna earn from your audience out of that go-to-market strategy. So that doesn't mean that you have to have revenue from the day one, and especially in Web3, and you can launch a token later and so on. But you have to kind of become rich first in spreadsheets. And if everything works, if the unit economy works, it's actually great for you, even if this is just a hackathon. But you have to understand that if you're going to build something for kind of non-profit for the whole year, it doesn't really make any sense. And you won't get the grant from us or any investments for this institution.
Yeah. Also, some personal notes on pitching. I know that probably you are passionate about your project and you should show it. And especially here on this hackathon, you can make mistakes. Don't be shy. Actually, make mistakes so we can correct it before we go to the main hackathon. This is the point. We are here to prepare you, give you some realistic feedback, so you don't lose your time. Because this is a process like iteration. You need to talk maybe with us, have more questions. That's why we are here for these 3 days, but we will here in the group. We'll try to provide you more support. Even we have until 2 o'clock, there will be lunch after 1. And at 2 o'clock we'll start the pitching sessions. But you can also approach us in the meantime if you have any final questions or you don't know what to do. We'll also be here for that. But please don't hesitate to experiment, to ask us any kind of questions that we can help you. That's why we're here. Better now, better here than later on. Yeah, that's it.
And also, let's take, like, for an example, of value for ecosystem. So if you're going to build like another clicker, doesn't add any value, and it's really hard to monetize and create a business model, but it might be one of the features that you can use for your go-to-market strategy, like this kind of like wire mechanics and so on. So bear that in mind, and just for you to understand what works or not.
Yeah, in relation to biomechanics, right now requests are maybe the most vital thing mechanically you can implement. It's not for every app, it doesn't make sense for every app, but it actually does. You can make your user do some quests, which is a biomechanic engagement. So there are many ways you can maybe invent something. It's an open field to try and engage users in novel ways. Do you have any questions about some of these points that you will be judged? Do you know what they relate to?
There's a question in the front row again.
So it's a question for me. Regarding the business model, you mentioned token utility. So can we have a slide like just for the utilities, like staking, governance, or we need like a special slide with tokenomics special?
I think that for this stage, you might not know the full tokenomics at this moment, and that's fine, but if you have some kind of like ideas for the future, it's okay if you can present them, and maybe we'll correct them in a way. So that's good. Maybe also you don't have to launch a token like right away and so on. You have to find also the market timing and so on. So yeah, it will take time, but it doesn't mean that you have to have the whole tokenomics right away. It's a pretty long and difficult process.
That's okay.
Another question?
I know with the proper stuff, so I want to ask if you will maybe test the apps, because sometimes if the presentation is not good enough media to present what they make, if someone has a functional prototype or already a functional product, to test it out yourself.
We will test it, but not during the pitch. During the pitch, we'll focus on presentation and the presenter, but that's why you have the QR code, you can download it later and test this.
Yeah, on the first screen that I presented, if you already have the Telegram in app, you can put the QR code, we can test it, and also during the presentation, you can put like some UX UI screens and so on, show the user flow, so it will help us to develop it.
Any other questions, burning questions from the audience right now?
One more thing, I don't know, many of you know the expression called the happy pet, which is the most simple user pet for your application. So let's say a new user comes to your application, what's the basic pet he needs to take from logging in or coming to your app to monetization? Make sure what we don't say, we don't need to work out the whole model, make sure you have the happy pet. The user journey from the first logging in till the end, that part needs to work, but you don't have to have all the extra features on top. If this business model works, that is your core model and core monetization.
Okay, if no other questions, please remember these two guys and Anton will be around for the next couple of hours before 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, please, as many of you as possible, as many of you as you want, you can come and listen to the pitching session from 2 o'clock. We will hopefully be finishing about 4:30, and then the winners, once again, I will remind you, but the winners will be announced this evening at the after party around 7:30 at a different location. Everything will be said, everything will be reiterated, but basically that's the timeline from now on. So now, free time until 2 o'clock, please, as many of you can come back here, and we will start the judging. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Obrigado.